anniversary of an infamous event in Toronto's history is almost upon us. It was 25 years ago tomorrow that the Yonge Street riot broke out. The clashes came just days after 4 LA cops were acquitted in the infamous beating of Rodney King. The hostilities were also fueled by the fatal shooting of a young black man by an undercover Toronto police officer. And joining me now from Brock University, they created a documentary about the Yonge Street riots. Simon Black and Howard Grandison. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Howard, let's and Simon, let's first start talking about the word riot, because I know in your documentary, in your film, you actually explored the use of the word riot. Is there a better word for what happened here 25 years ago?
This wasn't a riot, it was an uprising. When you look at the immediate context of the events of the day, the acquittal of 2 police officers and the shooting death of a black teenager by the name of Michael Wade Lawson, the killing of Raymond Lawrence, who was shot in an alleyway by a police officer, the Rodney King uprisings in LA and the verdict in that case as well. I think we're insistent on talking about it as an uprising. And I think the documentary, as Howard and I have discussed in the past, really asks, why is it that only in moments of crisis what does it say about black humanity and black existence in this city and in Canada more broadly, that only in moments of crisis do governments take anti-black racism, police violence, streaming in the school system, what have you, seriously and address it?
And attach that word to it, yeah.
And for you, maybe a word like rebellion would be better than riot.
Well, I also think like resistance is a better word, right? I think that the idea that we're given a push-pull to things that are coming at us, right? So a word that doesn't actually put any type of aggressive nature to it, and sometimes rebellion has that as well. So an uprising to me is also a word that seems a bit more like uplifting, because that's at the end of the day what we're trying to do, what everybody's trying to do, what people that resist are trying to do. So.
And when you think 25 years later, here we are in an era where Black Lives Matter has flourished and really left off where the Black Action Defense Committee started their work here in the city. Is that surprising to you that 25 years later, a quarter century later, the struggle is still present in the city?
I don't know if it's surprising, but it is unfortunate that we still have to deal with the same things that we've addressed and thought we've addressed and that have been come back again and again.
In the wake of the uprising, we saw major reforms passed by the then NDP government following a report by Stephen Lewis. When the Conservatives were elected in 1995, anything to do with anti-racism, whether it be in the criminal justice system or in school system or what have you, was rolled back and done away with. And we find ourselves now in a context, the shooting death of Andrew Loku, of Alex Wetlaufer, of Abdirahman Abdi in Ottawa, of Jermaine Carby in Brampton, that again, these struggles have to be taken up again. These battles have to be refought, and that's what Black Lives Matter is doing.
We've just had another report by Justice Tulloch, who came out with another list of recommendations, including a lot of the recommendations that were in Stephen Lewis's report and all the subsequent reports since. Do you actually have confidence now that a change will happen in this city?
History tells us to be cautious about the change, right?
And so does your pause.
I think history tells us that real change comes about through social movements, through struggle, through the likes of Akua Benjamin, the Legacy Project at Ryerson University funded this documentary, through the likes of Dudley Laws, through people on the ground, through Black Lives Matter, making moves, disrupting, letting the word be heard, letting it be known that black people in this city demand justice, and they have yet to receive it.
All the best with the opening of your doc. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Avery.